Hey everyone, this video is called An Encounter with Clay. Today, I am slowing down to spend time with a material that feels ancient, grounded, and alive in a different way. This encounter is about listening through my hands, noticing pressure, resistance, moisture, and change. In early childhood education, these quiet material conversations matter. When we truly attend to materials, we begin to understand how they shape learning, movement, and thought. For this material encounter, I am spending time with one piece of clay. I am not shaping it into a product or object. Instead, I am meeting it as a material with its own density, memory, and responsiveness. Today, I am entering into a dialogue with clay, allowing my hands to listen before they act. Let's go ahead. When my finger first touches the clay, I feel its coolness. It does not move quickly. It waits. As I apply pressure, the clay yields, but slowly. It resists just enough to remind me that shaping requires effort and attention. The clay holds the imprint of my fingerprints. It records my presence without hesitation. I begin to realize that clay responds directly to the intensity of my touch. The more force I use, the more dramatic the change. This makes me conscious of how my body participates in the encounter. When I stretch the clay, it elongates but begins to thin and strain. Small cracks appear along the surface. The clay shows me its limits, not suddenly, but gradually. Through pulling, I understand that clay negotiates with me. It does not simply obey. It communicates tension and boundary. When I separate the clay into two pieces, the break feels heavy and quiet. There is no sharp sound, only a dense shift. As I press the pieces back together, the clay accepts reunion. Yet the seam remains faintly visible, reminding me of what happened. Clay teaches me that transformation is possible, but traces remain. It remembers the encounter. As I begin shaping the clay, I notice that it responds to my hands. When I build upward, the clay slowly bends under its own weight. It reminds me that structure requires balance and support. I am not fully in control here. The clay participates in deciding what can stand and what must fall. When I press marks into the surface, the clay receives them fully. It does not erase easily. Each indentation becomes part of its story. The surface becomes a record of movement, force, and time. Clay shows me that touch leaves evidence. It honors every interaction. This quote deepens my understanding of my encounter with clay. Materials are active participants in the learning process, not passive objects to be used. As I pause and look at the clay, I begin to understand that it has been responding all along. It is not simply something I shape. It bends, resists, cracks, and holds. It participates. The clay accepts some movements and refuses others. It teaches me about pressure, balance, and limits. In this encounter, I am not the only one acting. The clay is active too, shaping the experience as much as I am. This material is not passive. It is a partner in the process, guiding what becomes possible. This encounter helps me understand how powerful clay can be in early childhood education. Clay invites children to use their whole bodies, to press, pull, balance, and negotiate. It slows thinking down and makes learning visible through form. When children work with clay without a fixed outcome, the material becomes a co-teacher, guiding patience, problem-solving, and embodied understanding. This experience changed how I see clay. It is not just soft or moldable. It is responsive, weighty, and full of memory. I wonder how children's thinking might deepen if we gave them more time to truly encounter materials like clay, to listen through their hands and discover what the material is capable of teaching them. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it made you pause for a moment and see everyday materials a little differently.